Welcome to the 9th chapter of the book of Genesis, titled God's Covenant with Noah. We'll be going into the word covenant a little bit later in this seminar. It begins in verse 1. Ke evlogisen o theos ton Noe, ke tus ius av tu. God, theos, we have theology, and evlogisen is a good word. Ev is good, and logos, word, blessed, good word. Noah, ketus ius av tu. Ke ipen av tis, and said to them, avxaneste ke plithinaste, ke plirosate tigin, ke katakirievatsate avtis. This is the exact same thing he said in verse 28 of chapter 1. Earlier he used the grow, multiply, and fill the earth with the animals, but the animals weren't to katakirievsate. They weren't to dominate it. That was man's command in the imperative here to dominate, the Kyrie. You can see that part of the word here. Kiriev, if I can get that. Well, anyway, it's right there. In verse 2, it continues, Ke ophobos, we have a phobia, a fear, of you, and the trembling will be upon all the wild beasts of the earth. Ke ophobos imon, ke otromos, este epipasi, tis theriis, tis gis, epi panta ta petina, to Oranu, and upon all the winged creatures of the heaven. Again, the peta with the bird, winged helicopter, and Uranus, the planet, are derivatives. And ke epi pantata kinumena, kinetics. We went through all these in the last chapter. Derivative. Epi tis gis, geology. Derivative. Ke epi pantas tus ichthyas, ichthyology, studying of fish. Derivative. Tis thalasis, thalactic, derivative. Epo, under, is a derivative. Hypo, hypodermic, under the skin. Hieros is another derivative, the hand, chiropractor. And emin, dedoka. And so all these things are under the domination of man. In verse 3 it continues, Ke pan peton o esti zon imin este is vrosin. This is very interesting, this first sentence of verse 3. The erpiton, we have herpes as a derivative, the dry skin, scaly skin, because it's like a snake, which is zone, living, zoo, shall be to you for food. The reptile was unclean, but yet earlier when Noah took these animals on the ark, it was mentioning clean and unclean. And so what were they clean and unclean for earlier? Was that just for sacrificing, but they could eat them? I don't know. I don't have the answer to this. Some people think that the Moses, when he wrote this, took different, different people that had written or passed these down, and people have made a science out of these possibilities in Genesis. I'm not going to go into that. More or less, we're going to be going into the words themselves, the Greek words, and study them rather than going into exercise into all kinds of theories. They're interesting, but that's not the purpose of these seminars. So anyway, but I'll bring up certain things that appear to me to be unusual, like in this case here, where the reptile can be for a food, but yet we know that later they are unclean as far as eating. Then it continues, O slakana hortu dedoka imin tapanta, and I have given to you, I have given all vegetation of grass to you. Then 9:4, plin kreas in imati psychis u phagasthe, except you shall not eat 3 meat with the blood of life. Verse 4, plin 5, ke gar to imeteron ima for even your blood, hematology, hema is blood, even the blood, ton psikon imon, ek hieros panton ton therion, ek ziti so, for even your blood, of the blood of your lives at the hands of all the wild beasts, I shall require it. So animals are going to be killing the humans. Ke ek hieros anthropu adelphu exitiso avto. And from the hand of a man's brother I shall require it. And it's an interesting place in Acts. Go to that 15:20. It says, "But write to them to be at a distance from the pollution of idols, and harlotry, and the things strangled, and blood." So even in the New Testament, the eating of blood is prohibited. Also in the Levitical laws in between, which we'll go to a little bit here when we get down into Leviticus. And then verse 6, it continues, "O echeon ima anthropu anti tu imatos aftu, ek hithisate." And the one shedding blood of a man in return, his blood shall be shed. So this is one of the first laws that God has as far as shedding of blood, murder. Otn ikoni theou episa ton anthropon. For in the image, ikoni, an icon, is an English derivative, an image of God, I made ton anthropon. We have anthropology as a derivative, and icon here as a derivative. Continues, imiste avxanaste, but you grow, ke plethinaste, and multiply, ke plerosate tigin, and fill the earth, ke plethinaste epi tis gis. And the complutensian and aldine also have the kuriev, katakuriev, to lord over, dominate the earth.